Greetings, everyone. So, tonight I'm going to go ahead and share more of the miniature book on all of the suicides in Scientology, and there are more. However, I left off yesterday with the letter E. I'm going to start with F today and see how far it can go. So I hope this helps anyone looking for answers or wanting to honor Scientologists that were either suicided or ended their lives on their own. Rest in peace to all of them. So hold on here. Reuben Joseph Sr. Flores. Reuben Joseph Flores Sr. from McKinney, Texas, prominent fast food owner, committed suicide on 28th March 2002 after being sent for Scientology ethics handling. So I wonder if he was a whale. Rest in peace to Reuben Joseph Sr. Flores. Hugh Franklin, suicide. That's all I got on him. Peter Ernst Fry. Peter Ernst Fry, 37, from Switzerland, drowned at Clearwater in June 1988 while staying at the Fort Harrison Hotel. So I'm going to add that to the playlist that I have made for Fort Harrison Hotel deaths. I'm going to go back through this and add some of those names. Michael Friedrich. Michael Friedrich, 18. That is tragic. I do really have to ask, was he really 18 years old? I do have to ask that, because you and I both know he probably was not 18. Michael Friedrich committed suicide end September 2006. I guess this is not enough deaths of minors for the FBI to investigate and prosecute people. It is said that his mother was advised to get Michael's psychiatric evaluation for his severe chronic depression. There we go again with that depression. It's the environment. But she was and is a Scientologist, and so did not bother. What a great parent. She has been heard to say that her son's suicide was okay because he was obviously I can't read this. Indwelt by an undesirable that the faith was unable to cleanse. All of a sudden it's a faith, huh? Rest in peace to the young Michael Friedrich, who you and I both know probably was not 18. Why would his mother be advised when he's 18? Ding, ding, ding. Excuse me. Now we're going to go into the G's. Philip C. Gale. Philip C. Gale committed suicide on Friday 13th, March 1998, Ron Hubbard's birthday, by jumping out of the window of a 15th floor classroom. Interesting how they didn't give more details. That is that is Liz Gale's brother. Conveniently, his age is not listed. And he was a genius. And he wasn't allowed to do what he wanted to do. Rest in peace to Philip Gale. Carol Gluchacki. Carol Gluchacki suicided after 1980. Rest in peace to Carol Gluchacki. Alan Green. Alan Green committed suicide. That's all I've got on him. John Griffin, OT2, Dallas, suicide. Are these enough deaths for you, FBI? Or do more children and adults need to kill themselves because they are imprisoned for you to do anything? Bo Griffiths. Oh, rest in peace to John Griffin. Bo Griffiths. Bo Griffiths. This is interesting use of language. Bo Griffiths fell 7 stories to his death from a balcony on a building in State College, another college death, Pennsylvania, on May 30th, 2014, in what appears to be a suicide. 2 days earlier, Griffiths told Colin Henderson, "Wait till you see the curve I'm about to throw." Griffiths, like so many other Narconon students, oh, there we go with Narconon again, but yet it's still up and running. Narconon is still running strong. Narconon students went on to become an employee of the system. Of course you did. Where else can you get free labor? An employee of the system after he graduated. He then promoted Narconon and got involved in Scientology. No kidding. Wish I knew what his age was. But in May 2013, Griffiths announced on his Facebook page that he was through with Scientology. You guys know there's more to this. I wonder how old he was. Tragic. Rest in peace to Bo Griffiths. Young man, completely controlled, had his life taken away from him, and he gave up on life because of Scientology and the people in Scientology that were abusing him. Mike Gutman, suicide, 1972. That's all we got on him. Rest in peace to Mike Gutman. Dorian Hale. Dorian Hale came to my mother quite upset, saying that he really messed up this lifetime and will have to do Scientology next lifetime because the org wouldn't let him receive auditing due to his past connection with psych drugs. On the 4th of November, 1997, Dorian committed suicide. That's really unfortunate. I wonder how old he was. Conveniently, a lot of ages are not put in here. Rest in peace to Dorian Hale. Dick Halprin, suicide. Rest in peace to Dick Halprin. Brad Halsey. Brad Halsey took his life with 2 helium tanks, with a bag over his head and a hose from the 2 tanks. It knocks you out in about 15 seconds. You die in like 15 minutes. He did it Sunday, 2nd of March, 2014, and the body was found 2 days later. He was 56. Wonder what OT level he was. Rest in peace to Brad Halsey. See, that's what happens, especially with the mid-age people. Especially when they get to a certain OT level and they find out it's a bunch of lies. Or it also could be they're just so controlled and just miserable and worked almost to death. And sometimes are. Rest in peace to Brad Halsey. Adam Hebenwhite. Adam Hebenwhite of East Grinstead, Sussex, Hell, cut his throat in 2000 something. They're not sure what. Somewhere in the 2000s. He must have been a young man. He was at university and getting auditing at St. Hell. His sister Claire is still in. Both were programmed to be cult victims at Greenfield's school. Mother Wendy, OTV, died of cancer, 2002. Father Ian died a year later, perhaps also of cancer. I guess those high OT levels doesn't prevent you from getting cancer. I wonder if that's Claire. No, that couldn't be Claire Headley's. I mean, it could be. I don't know. I don't know what Claire Headley's maiden name was. Rest in peace to Adam Hebenwhite. Bjarne Hederdam. Bjarne Hederdam in Denmark hung himself. Rest in peace to Bjarne Hederdam. Jacob Joseph Heder. On February 19th, 2014 in Los Angeles, Jacob Joseph Heder, 26, died of a heroin overdose. He was a staff member at the Narconon in Warner Springs, California. Yet another Narconon death. But it's still up and running. Young man, 26, had his life ahead of him. Allegedly died of a heroin overdose. Rest in peace to Jacob Joseph Heder. James Hester. Jim Hester, a pre-Claire at the Miami org in the mid to late 1970s, who attempted suicide in Miami and was hospitalized in critical condition, left a note. Sorry, I got My stomach. Apologize. I have taken what I consider to be the most expedient way out of my present predicament. I harbor no resentment against anyone except the Church of Scientology. There we go. They have a great deal to do with my demise. To play with people's defense mechanisms in the manner that they do is a criminal thing at best. I hope they can be outlawed. Wow. And that was let's see, almost 44 years ago, and nobody did anything. That's sad. Rest in peace to James Hester. Kim Hickok. Kim Hickok, OT5, CO for Europe and Canada, suicide. Kim Hickok. I also do really, really wonder how many of these folks were, I say it in quotations, suicided. Because they knew too much, they saw something they weren't supposed to see. That's why everyone in Scientology is not clean. They're not all clean, so anyways. Rest in peace to James Hester. Oh, wait a minute, guys. I'm sorry. Laura Hippie. Laura Hipp. Suicide, 1986 or 1987. Karen Holmberg. Karen Holmberg had been a public Scientologist. She committed suicide. I always find it weird when there's not a lot of details, but oh well. This looks like one of those like databases where people enter in information, I think. Quentin Hubbard. That's a real suspicious one, too. Quentin Hubbard, 22, son of Scientology founder L. Ron Hubbard, died under mysterious circumstances. Quentin was found unkempt, with a beard stubble, a state that no one who knew Quentin would accept. He was ultra meticulous in his appearance, or that the license plate of the car was missing and found under a rock some distance away, or that his wallet was gone, making identification impossible, or that a near-empty bottle of liquor was found, as if he had been drinking, when Quentin did not, or that there were needle marks on his arms when he did not use drugs. I'm not going to say too much here, but I do wonder how many and who were working in those upper levels of OSA when this happened. I forget what year it was. And it was alleged that Quentin Hubbard was homosexual, and you know what they think about that. And Hubbard was not who he tried to make himself to be. I'm just going to say that. Evil, like you don't even understand. So rest in peace to the young Quentin Hubbard. And there's also some rumors about lovely Ron Hubbard with his young daughter. There's some rumors on that. I don't have any hard evidence yet. I think she's still in Scientology, I think. Shane Hutchins. Shane Hutchins. Oh, here we go. 15 and a half, which by my estimation is a minor. I think any of the other minors that had passed, I'll bet you they're listed as all accidental deaths. How much you bet? Shane Hutchins, 15 and a half, committed suicide on the 10th of December, 1986, After separation from his Sea Org mother and later his friends, he was audited by a Celebrity Center International intern 2 years earlier. Wow, that is so sad. 15 and a half years old. I think the details on a lot of this are left out intentionally. Rest in peace, Shane Hutchins. Judy Johnson. Judy Johnson, formerly Mace, former wife of Paul Mace, who was driven to suicide by the pre-ethics handling she was getting. Alternatively, if you believe the cult, she fell under a train. Can you believe this? If you believe the cult, she fell under a train when she slipped on ice. This was in November 1983, 3 months after Paul died. Wow. I think they knew too much. In November 1983, she had divorced Paul Mace before 1977 and later married Howie Johnson. Where was that? Doesn't say where it is. But I get the feeling that it was in the United States, but I could be wrong. Rest in peace, Judy Johnson. Laraine Johnston. Laraine Johnston committed suicide in the mid to late 1980s by throwing herself off a bridge into freeway traffic in Los Angeles. She did this because Scientology would not help her after it alienated her from her husband and family. They must have given her a disconnection notice or SP declare. Where's the date? Well, I'm sure LAPD didn't know. Oh, 1980. Sure, LAPD had nothing to do with that, huh? You know, whatever Scientology tells them. Rest in peace again. If I said this before, sorry. Laraine Johnston. I get mixed up where I'm at, and then I forget what I said. Okay. Lee Johnstone. Guardian's Office staff. Guardian's Office staff. East Grinstead, England. Suicide, 1985. Bo Johnson. Bo Johnson, former AG Sweden, committed suicide. Rest in peace to Bo Johnson and Lee Johnstone. Mark Cabot. Mark Cabot's suicide. Jeremy Kosovitz. Jeremy Kosovitz, a young person, otherwise known as a minor, as a child. Jeremy Kosovitz, a young person, on auditing lines at Celebrity Center, he hung himself. That is awful. It's what happens when you get all these adults that don't want to be parents. So there's a lot of accountability that needs to be taken. Rest in peace to young Jeremy Kosovitz, who never apparently had a chance because his parents failed him, everyone in Scientology failed him, the government failed him, nobody was coming to help Jeremy, so he hung himself. Plus Keel, a confirmed Scientologist of 22, ended his stay at the Schliersee tragically. He got himself into deep debt, of course he did, for his community. After some time at Narconon, he complained to his mother about the barefaced window. Yeah, like barefaced Messiah. Narconon is only about money, he said. True. And rape and SA. But on September 14th, 1990, after less than 2 months at Narconon, Plus packed his bags and threw himself under a train. There's that train again. Rest in peace to Plus Keel. He found the swindle real quick, didn't he? Does make me wonder if he threatened to tell anyone and then found himself under a train. Renate Kern, wife of record producer Klaus Hildebrandt and a successful hit country singer. See what they do to people? Was found hanging in her own house in Hoyerswege, Oldenburg, on February 18th, 1991. 2 years earlier, she became depressed. She sought help with the Scientology Church. Got her when she was vulnerable. In August 1989, Renate Kern herself became active for Scientology, campaigning for the cult, trying to convince others of the positive things she experienced there. She did not convince her husband. According to him, they were constantly on the phone, put pressure on Renate. It all was too much for Renate's nerves. She went to a psychiatric clinic in Bremen, felt better, and returned home. But the pressure remained. She loved her husband, did not want to lose him, but she could not let go of the cult. On the day before Christmas, 1990, she again went into the clinic. On Friday before her death, she was allowed to go home. Improved and not suicidal, Renate had deceived them. She had only wanted to go home to escape the impossible situation by committing suicide. Rest in peace, Renate Kern. Keith Klein, OT3, gunshot suicide, about 1978. Did you hear that, LAPD? More people that took their lives in Scientology. Still like that money? Or maybe you're just naturally dirty. Rest in peace to Keith Klein. Mike Kohler, 35, a locksmith at a temporary work company and a Scientologist for about 11 years. Bled out internally from a 30-centimeter wound in the intestine on April 19th, 2004. At the time, he lived in a residential community of Scientologists in Bremen, in the Scientology mission, Bremen. Kohler completed several courses, including the so-called purification rundown. It kind of alludes to that purification caused the wound in his intestine. That's sad. Rest in peace to Mike Kohler. Traud Kroos committed suicide in the 1990s, immediately after she had come from the Scientology Center at St. Hill, England, where the Viennese had undergone a so-called marriage handling. Her husband, Thomas Kay, also a Scientologist, wanted to get divorced because he wanted to marry his ordination aide. Traud saw no other way out than shooting herself. Rest in peace to Traud Kroos. See how sickening that is? It's disgusting. This organization is filled with narcissists. And some of the narcissists are bred in this sick environment, and some are just naturally narcissistic. So they get all their power and their entitlement and their titles and, I can do whatever I want. Basically like the real idiot that told William Good to suck his you-know-what. That kind of behavior. So this guy just dumps his wife for another one, and she felt despondent. What a waste of a life. Rest in peace to Traud Kroos. Okay, I'm going to end there at the caves. I will probably continue this tomorrow. There are a lot of names here, so at least I can try to honor them and bring their memory out into the open. So, peace, everyone. Good night.